Suave.
I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different road, changed relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now
BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your sports betting this season. Everything from pro and college basketball to UFC, MMA, and more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. What's up, guys? And we are back with another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast with Andrew Robinson, presented by BetOnline. Before we introduce today's guest, we want to make sure I get the business out the way. First and foremost, man, if you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're hearing this, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. It goes a very, very long way. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the What's in Your Bag podcast, man. We got some dope guests. We're dropping gems on the podcast, man. So make sure you guys are telling a friend and tell a friend and spreading the good gospel, man. That was my guy, Put Up Tay, on the intro. Make sure you guys are streaming his music. He's one of the hottest up-and-coming artists out of the DMV. It's going to be him on the outro as well. And yeah, guys, make sure you guys are giving us, like I said, 5-star rating, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. But without further ado, man, we got a barbershop episode today, man. You know what I'm saying? One of my brothers, one of my very good friends, you know what I'm saying? Me and this guy go way, way back to about 2016. I think I met Trey for the first time on the campus of, I was at Quinnipiac, he was at Yale, you know what I'm saying? But my guy, Trey Phills, now retired basketball player, content creator, entrepreneur, the whole 9 yards, man. But other than that, man, an all-around great person, somebody who, you know, has inspired me a lot. And yeah, man, I'm definitely honored to have this conversation with you today, man, and looking forward to it. What's up, my guy?
Man, I'm over here big cheesing. For one, it's been a long time. I can't believe it's been like 6-7 years.
Crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. And for two, I'm washed. I'm retired, 7 years out of college, feeling like 7 years out of college. So, man, time flies. And yeah, we go way back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I also got to introduce my co-host, my guy, Tank Will. You know what I'm saying? He the bruh, so I don't really try to give him too much of an intro on here. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
What up, Tank?
Yo, what up? First of all, if you're not Q's, you really not bros. Like, we the only bros. But anyway, like, outside of that, my man Trey. Hey, look, we might go back further than y'all two, bro. Like, me and Trey really might be like 2013. I met Trey at like Charlotte Christian, so like this way back. So we might actually go back further than Trey. But you know, it's all love, man. Trey's good, always good to talk to you, Brody.
Absolutely.
For sure, man. It's crazy because last week when we had Tank on his first episode with Meech, when we tried to raise on camera, you know what I'm saying? We had actually no. we had an episode with me, Tank, and Lexus. We had a cool little, you know, Lexus had the first fam going on. Now we got 2 other alphas. I'll be remiss if I ain't shout out to Frat, you know, on camera, you know what I'm saying? So Tank, you're gonna have to be the oddball today, you know what I'm saying? It's all good though. But now, man, but before we get into the nitty-gritty, man, Trey, tell us about just, you know, how's life, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're going to get into all the retirement stuff, man, but just, you know, how's life in Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? You living your best life right now. It seems like doing your retirement series on Instagram right now, going viral, but how's life, man?
Yo, I just want to say it'll be a miracle if we make it through this without laughing and getting the joke time. So I'm going to try my best. But yeah, man, life is good. Decided to put the ball down officially in like September, October, right? So now I'm back home. I'm doing 2 things, social media and Jimble, my startup. So it's definitely a change of pace. But I think taking those habits from hooping and attacking new challenges has been really fun. And it's been amazing to hop into the startup world with the same kind of energy as I'm trying to make it to the league. It's a different league, and they write the same size checks if I make it with what I'm doing. So it's just cool to even be in this position.
Yeah, you spoke on like just like change of pace, and it just feels like you're the only person I know that like retired in your life, like retired from ball and your life turned up even more. So like in terms of like just change of pace, do you feel like this pace now, like trying to get into like the entrepreneurial space, like navigating what it's like to sort of be essentially an influencer on social? Can you just say like what that change has been like going from just the everyday in and out being a hooper, professional hooper, into now just coming into this new space?
Yeah, absolutely. It's different being a entrepreneur, and I would count any content creator who is, trying to make an income from that an entrepreneur. And just like hoops, right? Like you have to rent is due every day, except the only difference is the opponent is not always as clear. You have to set your own goals and your own metrics for success. So when I say change of pace, I just mean I have to spend a lot more time defining success and figuring out what those wins are for me. Because the work is still the work, and you got to show up every day ready to kind of get closer to whatever goal you set. So, yeah, just trying to figure out what the success looks like and just attacking it with the same intensity. But yeah, I can't lie. I don't have that the pregame jitters and all the practice. I'm not trying to go to practice. Like I truly love doing like this, and I think that's a huge blessing. Not everybody can wake up just excited for things, and there's highs and lows too. But we can get into that later.
For sure. That's love, man. That's love. I think that's a perfect little teaser to kind of what's to come in the episode. But before we get to kind of what you're doing now and everything you're into in your next phase of life, I want to rewind all the way back to the beginning, man. Tell us about your upbringing, man. Obviously, you started off. Were you born in Baton Rouge or were you born in North Carolina? Yeah. So I got my facts. You know what I'm saying? So born down south, born down south. You were obviously born into basketball, man, a basketball family. Just talk about your upbringing, how you got into the game, and just kind of tell us about, little Trey, man, just kind of what your upbringing was like.
Man, I've had a ball in my hand since the womb, right? Like my pops played in the league, had a great career, and I just was kind of following in those footsteps. And to be honest, man, I wasn't really confident in my game in comparison to my peers until like eighth grade. So the first 10 years of hoop was just a wash. Big wash, man. Like it was, I had a love hate, right? Like I loved it because it was a part of me and it was a part of my family. And it kind of, provided the lifestyle that we had. But I hated it because, big shoes to fill. And I wasn't, for my standards, close to filling that. So I shed many a tear on a practice court back in the day, back in the AAU days. But it came a long way. And then I guess just as far as upbringing in life outside of basketball, my mom always preached like you got to get a good education. You can't play for the rest of your life. And it's funny just fast forwarding to today when I actually had to stand on that, right? Like the ball is going to stop bouncing at one point. So shout out to her just for kind of instilling that from a young age. So I always knew I wanted to go to a school that had high academics and could open up doors, and basketball was just a vehicle.
100%. First of all, definitely gotta give a shout out to Ma Dukes, man, because she's super dope, man, super woman. I know you're gonna listen to this, so hey Ma, you know what I'm saying? Just gotta show you some love. Miss you, gonna see you soon. But I think in your response, man, you said something that was super, super interesting and super powerful. I want to dive into a little more. You're talking about just, the idea of living up to expectations and the pressure that kind of people had on you based on your pops and everything like that. And I feel like, for people who don't know, I obviously lost both my parents, my mom and my dad, and not a lot of people can relate to losing a parent. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, I can't even relate to you in this sense of having that pressure. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in today's society, everybody talks about, for example, Bronny James and like, oh, how you live up to, your dad's LeBron and then this and that. And like everybody knew, your dad was obviously a great player in the NBA, like you mentioned, had a great career. People talked about him being one of the Jordan stoppers and all that kind of stuff. But I want to ask you, man, for you, like, after your dad passed, how were you able to kind of just, I guess, get through the expectations and like, all right, bet now you got to kind of be the next, Bobby Fields and deal with all the pressure of that, man, because that's not an easy thing. Number one, trying to deal with the loss of a parent. And then number two, now you're like, all right, bet all this weight is on your shoulders to kind of play the game that he played and be as great as he was, right? From a mental perspective, how were you able to kind of deal with that at such a young age and kind of carry that through your upbringing?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Like, to be honest, bro, I feel like I was chasing that until I decided to retire, and maybe not even that point. I think I had to get to like summer league, right? Like I always had this joke because my style of play is I'm a facilitator. I can score, but I wasn't averaging a lot in college. My joke was like I can score 7 points anywhere in the world. I can average 7 anywhere in the world. Whatever league put me there, I'm gonna average 7. So I scored 7 points in my summer league game with the Rockets, and my mom was in the stands, and it was just kind of like, man, I don't have to prove nothing else to nobody. So to be dead honest, I think like I was still chasing like that. I have to prove it to the world until that point, which was August 2021. So if you look at my whole career, right, like yeah, I had these metrics of success, right, like 3-year starter, two-time March Madness, attendee and upsets and whatever. But the one that I was after was like just being on that stage, mom in the crowd, and it doesn't have to be in an NBA regular season game. To me, like that summer league experience was just dope. So yeah, it's crazy.
That's real.
And just to sort of like add on top of that, I know like we talk about sort of what it's like to build your identity, but like, did you feel it was harder with your father being someone who was in the NBA? Did you feel like it was harder to develop your identity as a man without him being there? Or did you feel like it was harder to identify who you were as a basketball player just
Yeah.
coming up? Like, I know that like those are two different worlds, but like those are at one point like those two worlds start to collide at some point throughout your basketball journey. And I just wonder like which one of those do you feel like was more difficult to sort of get a grasp on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think my identity as, Trey was solidified way earlier than my identity as like I'm an athlete for some reason, right? Like the athlete stuff took a while, but yeah, I think it was just back to like my mom and just instilling these principles that are kind of like intangibles, right? Like you have intangibles with basketball. She kind of just showed me what it was like to really, be a man. And even though she's a woman and might not be able to relate and everything, I think she did a great job of that. So I've always felt like I was, the man of the house, pretty independent, had to grow up fast. So that kind of was always a part of me. And yeah, that's my answer.
Now, I also I'll be remiss if I ain't mention your sister as well, Kirsty, because she's also a super bucket on the court. You know what I'm saying? And you guys definitely got the basketball gene in your blood, man. Pops definitely you could tell, man. He definitely trickled that down to both of you guys. And I wanted to ask you for you, like, what advice would you give to somebody else who's maybe dealing with the loss of a parent or trying to deal with living up to expectations, or somebody who feels like, dang, like, I got this weight on my shoulders and this pressure from the outside world, like to be somebody, right? Like, what advice would you give to that person on trying to deal with those expectations and adversity and just pressure?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, man, for me, it all came back to just like, they say the term like you got to create your own legacy, leave your own legacy. So at some point, you can be trying to live up to the people that were before you. However, like every day you have a chance to impact somebody. You have a chance to kind of set a new trail that your parent couldn't have and didn't. And I think that's important as well. Like, yes, it's okay to have both things be true. You can be chasing after something while still blazing your own path for the next generation. So it's kind of really dope to see how I've done it looking back, right? Like to put a bow on my athletic career, how I was chasing, however, still opening doors for the person that might want to be the next Yale athlete or high academic student that was great on the court as well. So, and that's something my dad didn't do to that extent, but it just looked different. So I think different is okay. You can have room for both.
I love like what you said right there, because you pretty much set it up for a T. What I was about to ask this, and you brought up what it was like just being a Yale athlete. Just can you tell me like just sort of what it was like, going from like Charlotte Christian and then going into Yale, and like you went to Yale, like when it wasn't necessarily as popular or as trendy for athletes to go to an Ivy League school and then try to make it to the next level. Like, can you sort of give a dive deeper? Well, let's just give a dive deeper into like you choosing Yale and like your time navigating Yale at a space, being the person that you are.
Yeah, man. When I was a freshman, we had the big gray Russell tees. We had no Under Armour deal. We had the big gray Russell tees. We didn't have an Instagram account. I started Yale basketball's Instagram account. I'll put that on record because everybody don't know that.
Sheesh.
But
My boy was a
yeah,
content creator at heart, even before he
Yeah,
started
all right.
TikToks.
yeah, yeah. And then they snatched it from me, but that's a story for another day. I think the class before me, that senior class when I was a freshman, really was the first like step in the right direction to where Yale is right now. So credit to them, credit to like the prior 2 seasons, honestly. They just didn't get the kind of the credit when they did it. So yeah, it wasn't popular. But again, it just goes back to like what was my goal? What was my version of success? For me, it was okay, I'm gonna use this to get a Yale degree. Our valedictorian didn't get accepted into Yale. So it was kind of like I knew it was an unpopular choice and I had to be okay with that trade-off because I kind of had the foresight and really just trusting that it was the right path for me, right? Like kind of like not comparing yourself to all the high major kids and stuff. I didn't have those options. I had a decent amount of mid-major offers, but yeah, just trusting in the vision and the plan that, kind of God has for your life and what you want to do.
Looking back, just like just out of curiosity, do you feel like Yale was the best offer that you had on the table, or do you feel like Yale, like, because I mean, 2020 is hindsight, like hindsight is 2020, and vice versa. But did you feel like Yale is the best offer now, looking back, or do you feel like at the time it was just like Yale's going to make me a better man, and when I finish, I'm going to have like a degree from Yale?
Yeah, man, it's crazy you say that because I was just on the high school offers page. I was at a high school playoff game and I was checking out a kid. I was like, man, let me go see what I have, man. I don't even remember. But so I had like 15 offers mid-range. We're not gonna name drop anyone, but looking back at it, it was just the perfect balance of like great basketball and great academics. So I wouldn't change it for a thing. I can't lie to you. I really wanted to go to Stanford, but that wasn't in the cards for me, right? Athletically, I was not where I was athletically until I got to college. So that didn't shake out, but I'm really just thankful that I went where I went.
That's real. I feel like it's crazy to think back because I feel like after we got to college, it's kind of similar to the whole HBCU movement. It was like when I was coming out of high school, it wasn't cool to go to HBCUs, bro. Like people, like I remember I was thinking like, damn, like I ain't going to no HBCU. I'm about to go to the mid majors or whatever, CAA, the MAC, A10, whatever. And it's like now everybody trying to go to HBCUs. Everybody trying to. Mikey Williams talking about I'm gonna put an HBCU in my top 5 and this and that. Howard's got a Jordan sponsorship playing that All-Star weekend. I feel like that's kind of the same with the Ivy League because you had guys like, Bryce Aiken and Seth Towns who were, not 5-star, but top 100 recruits going to Ivy Leagues. And Mie only just got drafted from Yale, second round. And people are like, all right, well, shit, I can get drafted from the Ivy League. I may as well go get this degree now, too. You know what I'm saying? Princeton had Jalen Llewellyn, who was a top 100 kid. You know what I'm saying? So I always, want to ask people because obviously, like I said, it wasn't like a popular thing. I feel like now it's a little bit more accepted and it's a little more normalized. People to kind of go not only just Ivy League or HBCU, but like just anywhere mid-major now with the NBA, being able to get picked from anywhere and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you this about kind of your time at Yale because we had a dope convo with Meech about this last week, and she mentioned kind of about her experience being a Black athlete at Yale and how a lot of times, people will see you and be like, oh, well, you only got in the Yale because you were an athlete, not because you were actually smart. And it was kind of an isolating experience, especially obviously being African American at a PWI as well. When you look back at your time at Yale, what was your time? What was your experience like? Excuse me, as an athlete, as a Black athlete, at a PWI, at an Ivy League institution, all those things kind of coming into one entity. Like, what was your experience like when you reflect back on it at Yale?
Yeah. Well, for me, there was a little culture shock, right? Like being from Charlotte, the South, the race relations of the South way different than the relations in Connecticut. right? So throwing
Facts.
myself in, yeah, TJ knows. Throwing myself in that new environment was like, okay, for one, I gotta adjust to like just Yale, right? And then I gotta add all the intricacies and nuances that come with being black at a PWI. So, um, but I will say like the same way I carried myself in high school is the same at Yale. Like I knew a lot of people. I guess I was, popular, whatever, like friend of everybody, but I had a really tight circle. And I was looking to replicate that at Yale, which is why I, pledged Alpha and went that route because I wanted like genuine connections with people that, cared about the things that I cared about. So I was definitely in the mix. Don't get me wrong, I was in the mix, but as far as like who my people were and who my circle was, it was like my team, and then yeah, my in the freshman year was like looking for that black fraternity route.
So I gotta ask, man. Obviously, I think this wasn't even a planned question. I was gonna originally pivot from it, but I think you teed it up perfectly. So um the frat.
I'm Tiger Woods out here. Hey, yes,
Teed
sir.
it up perfectly, man. And like the frat. So obviously, like I mentioned in the intro, me and you are both, alphas, and shout out to the chapter. And you know, reflecting back on kind of my whole thought process and decision for Alpha, it was like when I came to college, I wasn't looking to join a fraternity at all. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even really know what fraternities and sororities were. Um, and especially being an athlete, bro, it's like, man, I got to focus on basketball and getting to the league, and like, I don't got time to do anything extra. And as I kind of got older and started going out, being outside a little bit, one of my best, well, she's my ex, but she's like one of my best friends now. She's AKA at Temple. I started seeing what she was like, oh, what's the D9? And it was crazy, man. When I first talked to Ty, he told me that there was a basketball player like, in the chapter. I was like, wait, there's a D1 hooper who's also an alpha who's done this experience. Like, it's crazy, bro. And I feel like immediately I was like, damn, bro, I gotta try to like talk to this dude, like see what, like, what I'm saying, pick his brain, bro. So and I remember one of the biggest things that I think held me back from it was like, all right, how is this gonna affect my basketball career? Like trying to, pledge, trying to now 5 fraternity incorporated, non-pledging, non-hazing organization, want to get that out there. But just everything going through that process, how is it gonna take away from basketball, right? So for you, I want to ask you, you came before me as far as like the chapter goes, and obviously we have profiles that have played basketball and things like that. But how did you kind of weigh that, man? Because I can think about it. What's like for me at Quinnipiac, it's like, bro, you was at Yale, bro, trying to keep up with the work, the basketball, and then you're adding the frat on top of that. Like, what made you want to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot and join a fraternity? You know what I'm saying? Especially at a school like Yale where it wasn't really much of a D9 presence, so where you seen it a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to just open up the floor for you to kind of just share your perspective, on that whole thought process.
Yeah, it's funny. Some days I look up like today and I'll be like, why do I take the hardest path just to do anything? Like I feel like whatever the most difficult thing is, I just have a natural attraction to like, conquering it. I don't know why, bro. So I would throw that into that bucket as well. Um, but I guess the purpose behind it is like if you can do that, you can do anything, right? Like I have just big goals for what I want my life to look like, and I know it's hard work. So sometimes it's kind of like pressure testing myself to see what I can do and what my limits are, and if I can get through it, I can do whatever else. Everything else is easy. So outside of the community and the brotherhood that comes with it, it was really like, okay, how many people have done it? Not a lot. I'm gonna do it, and you just say you're gonna finish and just get things done. That's really it.
Copy. The Hooping Apes, man. You know what I'm saying? Any chapter on the East Coast?
The hooping apes.
Smoke?
It's crazy.
Yeah. 2-on-2. Dunking, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Head taps. Head taps.
I'm not gonna lie, the hooping apes sound like an act in like the circus, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The hooping apes.
Coming from the
We could have, bro. You could have just been
oh,
like the hooping alphas, like, and it would have been cool.
man, listen, I'm gonna let that rock for now, but you know what I'm saying? You only get one more strike, and this will be a last episode on What's to Get Better.
Oh,
You know.
wow, it's all facts. Hey, man. Hey, like you was talking about getting out of Yale, so like just to sort of switch up the tempo, 'cause I was gonna ask you about sort of like transition out of Yale. I just want to ask you like a couple quick questions, and then like that'll set us up before we get into the next point. So I did this with Meech, and I sort of like I just did this or that with Meech. So she just gave me one word answers, just this or that. It's nothing crazy. We'll start off slow, we'll start off small, then we work our way up. So the first one, we'll start off slow. If you or your sister could make the league, looking back now, which one of y'all would you pick to make the league?
I'm picking myself. What you mean? I'm picking me. Hey, forget hoop dreams, man. I'm there.
Bro, but you already said you made summer league and you know you could average 7 in the league, so you good. You don't need nothing else.
I'm picking me.
That's nasty. All right, so if you putting on, that's crazy. I can't even get past it. All right, so you a big fit guy. You throwing on a fit. All right, so you got the perfect fit. What's more important, great kicks or great accessories?
Hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna go with great pants. Not great accessory, great pants. I'm not really a shoe guy no more. Like I got my rotation, but you throw on some pants that's like, where'd you get those from? It sets off the fit. So sorry, that's my answer.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, if you could only pick G League or overseas professional hooping, which one you picking?
Now that's tough. That's really tough because they both have their pros. Can I answer why after? Can I answer why?
Yeah, well, I'll take this one. I need this one.
I'm picking overseas. I'm picking overseas. If it's just G or just overseas, I'm going overseas. I was in Denmark for the people listening to the pod. I loved it. Like I love new cultures, new experiences, being able to travel and see the world. And it's the G you be in Lakeland, Florida, and Greensboro, North Carolina. You're not in Copenhagen, right? So it's yeah. I'm going overseas.
Do you feel like your experience overseas was like better in just in terms of like the fan atmosphere, the culture, all of that? Do you feel like it was better overseas?
Yeah, all that. Like you the go-to guy in the fourth quarter. Fans know you, the people in the town know you, you could travel. All yeah, all the above. And the G is cool because you know you're close to that next level and you get that sort of, you know, resume boost, but it's nothing like playing overseas with a good club and you being a good player.
All right, it's sort of going to like go coincide with that one. Would you rather cross country road trip across the United States, or would you rather backpack Europe?
Mm, that's tough. I'm going with backpacking. I can't do the long road trips, man. It's 10 hours is and I'm done. Like I'm tapped out after 10 hours. So yeah.
All right, as a content creator, you rather rock on TikTok or you rather rock on IG?
Oh,
You go get
why you do this to me? I'm gonna go with TikTok, man. I'm gonna go with TikTok. And can I side note story on this? I just realized this the other day. It's crazy. I was one of the first pro basketball players to build a presence on TikTok. Like, period. That's a crazy statement. Like, I didn't think about it at the time, but if you check the receipts, I was one of the first. So that's kind of how I got started because uh, someone from TikTok corporate was using my account as the gold standard to onboard all the pro athletes she was working with. So if Tom Brady is joining TikTok, maybe not Tom Brady, but you know, if the pro basketball player is joining TikTok, she was using my account as like this is a good example of how to be a pro athlete and a content creator. So that was really dope.
Do you feel like that was sort of like a result of like the quarantine boom, like over that time when you were just probably like just pushing out content? Like, do you feel like that's pretty much where that came from?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I wanted to be a Vine guy. Like I missed the wave with Vine. I made a couple and they did okay, but the consistency wasn't there, and I really didn't care. I was kind of too young as well. But once I got to posting on TikTok, I saw some similarities, and I was like, okay, let me position myself. So yeah, when y'all was grabbing toilet paper, I was posting every day. That's how it goes, man.
All right, so last one, since you're now sort of like into like the influencer space, is basically sort of where you are now. Do you feel like which is
soda.
more
He in
important?
there. He in there.
Yeah, he's I don't know if he likes calling himself an influencer, not like everybody doesn't like the term. So like, would you rather have impact or influence?
Impact. 1,000%. 1,000%. I would rather have a consistent 50,000 views, 50 to 100,000 views of like engaged, great overlap as far as my message and the audience that's receiving it, than going viral and surface level influencing a lot of people. Give me impact for sure.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue, man, into our next topic. And I think you first of all, what you said is facts as far as like when we were buying toilet paper, you was on TikTok. And I never forget, bro. I feel like I've been kicking myself to this day, man, because my boy T Phills tried telling me to get on TikTok during the quarantine wave. But I was like, bro, I'm not getting on that app and dancing. Right? I ain't about to get up there and shuck his jive. I ain't about to do that. But I was like, I didn't really know what TikTok was about. And honestly, this you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like TikTok has evolved because when people were first on TikTok, people it was like Vine. People just up there doing trends and doing weird stuff. And now it's kind of evolved to where people are really using it to like tell stories and like whatever. But Trey, he had the wave, early on, man. But I think you said something that I want to ask you about when you talked about you were one of the first athletes to kind of build a platform on TikTok. And
Pro athlete.
pro athlete. TikTok. Yeah. And like I feel like we talked about this a little bit with Kyle Allman with the whole YouTube thing, but I feel like with pro athletes, bro, it's like this stigma of like, number one, it's like, all right, I can't do content because it's going to take me away from my game, number one. Number two is I'm not about to sit there and like record myself like doing something, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's weird. That's cool. Like, how did you get over that initially to not even go viral, just to get into content and to tell yourself like, all right, like I'm about to post a joint on my TikTok and I don't care if I look silly, you know what I'm saying? Or I don't care if people think I'm not I don't care if people don't think I'm locked in, but I know what I'm locked into my craft as far as getting in the gym. Like, how did you kind of navigate that initially when you're first getting into the content?
Yeah, you gotta hit one of these. You gotta well, you gotta just see it. But nah, like that's really how I felt. I just, just trying to act like I'm not getting my setup shots right.
Man,
Yeah, bro, that's a great question. I will say it got a lot easier once I got my first brand deal, because then I could say, is TikTok paying you, right? Like, so I could kind of, that was my defense. But the
right.
insecurity of like I'm on this app that is not known for what I'm trying to use it for, right? Like I was really forward thinking. I feel like when I was posting, I was still saying what the app looks like today. It just wasn't as many data points for people to pick up on what I was saying. Like even my agent, he told me this like a month or two ago. He was like, "Yeah, bro, I can't lie. When you started posting, I was like, oh, he's a goner. Like he's out of there." So, uh, it's tough, man. I think it goes back to just like what do you stand for as a man, and I had my couple months where I was being silly, but early on I was like, bet I'm gonna talk about this, and this, and it's gonna impact these type of people, and at the end of the day, like if you making fun of me or whatever, then at some point you look goofy calling me out for trying to impact the younger generation. It's just this is how I'm going about it. So, but yeah, it comes. Don't get me wrong. Like you gonna catch the jokes. Like people got their jokes off, and you just gotta wear it because you gotta know. Like, look, you know what you're working towards. So yeah, it just comes with the territory of doing like anything worth doing. You gonna catch some heat. So.
So at the end of the day, you just felt like your impact was just worth like wearing those jokes. Just wearing those jokes just sort of became like a badge of honor because you knew you were doing something that was essentially way bigger than you, or that's something that would transcend for younger generations.
Yeah, and you got to understand everybody's not gonna like see your vision, like period. You can feel insecure about it, stop doing it, but then you quit. So it's like, all right, I know what I'm doing it for, and you got to just have tunnel vision.
Bro, it's funny you did a little because you would know how many times, bro, I'll be somewhere with like even, and it's crazy because I feel like that was then in 2020. We're in 2023 now where everybody's doing some form of content. But I feel like today, it's still not like accepted, quote unquote. I'll be somewhere with my teammates. I'll pull up my phone. I'll be like, oh, here you go. Here comes the content creator. I'll be like, dang, bro, like let me live, bro. And I feel like it's even now, bro. It's crazy. I'll see dudes that will like, start doing content, or like, but then they'll stop. Or people, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's still even today, like not really accepted yet, as far as from an athlete's perspective. And like being more than an athlete, people trying to be on the gram and like, I want to go post a little hoop and flick. I don't want to post, reels or whatever. Like, I think what I guess advice or what message would you say to that hooper out there, man, or that football player out there or athlete, man, who might have an idea or might want to get into content creation, man, but just kind of scared to kind of get over that hump and put themselves out there? Like, what advice would you kind of get to them to take that next step?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've learned as of late, like if you're gonna do something, stand on it. Stand on it, double down, because then like when you do something from a place of like I'm confident in myself and what I'm doing, people really stop questioning. Like they like, oh, that's just who he is. That whole authenticity, that unapologeticness goes a long way. And then people start supporting you. People start rocking with you. Like you catch the jokes because they secretly wish they had the confidence to do what you're doing. But if you let that get to you and you start shying away, they're gonna see that. And it's like they smell blood in the water, they're gonna, keep getting their jokes off. So if you're gonna do it, 10 toes down, like triple down on it. Cause yeah, a year of consistency, you could be in a whole different place. And then it's funny, people that I was getting jokes off 2 years later, Trey, how I clipped this reel together. Like how I add the on-screen text. I remember you was talking about on-screen text back in 20. Like, nah, now you trying to hear me, but it comes with the territory. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I be rizzing the way I do. Like when I riz and like it don't go that way, I just like 2x. Cause like if I stand on it, like they at least gonna respect it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's all we got for you. Um,
I'm good.
hey, but like just sort of on that same wave, like when it came to like you trying to just like level up your content, at what point did you start to really see like the sort of like the long term meaning, like when you started to secure brand deals, like how was that? And then furthermore, how did you go on once you got your first one? How did you go on and building your second one and sort of starting to look for brand deals? How did you sort of start to really acquire them?
Yeah. I credit that to just saying like this is a personal thing. Like if I'm gonna do something, I want to do it at the top 0.1 percentile, like better than anybody else. So I took that energy, and my first brand deal was actually Gatorade. Like it wasn't a lot of creators on the platform in the sports niche. So they saw me, reached out to me, and I spent like 40 hours filming a 20-second video, right? Like switching locations and editing and pay people to like help me produce it and do all that. Think about like literally a day and a half for like a 20-some second video. And it was just that first impression of like, oh, this guy is going to represent our brand to the highest tier. We have no choice but to come back to him. Like, we're not going to find anybody else that can tell the brand story how Trey can tell the brand story. So every time I get a brand deal, I try and come with that energy of like, I'm not just doing it to get a check. I'm doing it to be the best person you've ever worked with. And they keep coming back. So
Just like you spoken like just being the best, like at one point, or has there ever been a point where you look like, bro, like do you ever look at it like, man, how did I go from trying to be the best hooper to like trying to be the best like social influencer I could be? Like, do you ever have those moments and you're like, bro, like how did I end up in this situation? Like how did I end up in this spot?
yeah, kind of. I mean, for one, I think I was always editing pictures and videos. Like me and Derek actually, me and Derek used to do imitation hour on IG. So what we would do is it was like once a year, like twice a year, we would take people's Instagram flicks and recreate them, like the goof. So it'd be people just, the ones where they'd be on their model, and we would just recreate it to a T and do goofy stuff on socials, like just cause, or just making videos just to send to like Snapchat, like overproducing, like drawing art on the Snapchat and being like an astronaut, but it's just like me in the bathroom, like with a spacesuit on, stupid stuff, bro. So I mean, that part was like always there. And I think once I realized it was a stream of income and I could actually make a living from it, I've always had the same like vision for what my life will look like. And basketball just happened to be the most clear way to do it. And then social media, and then like, the pushing like the tech that, what I'm doing with my startup. So the vision for my life has always been the same. It's just is different means this time. And I'm okay with making that flip.
It was crazy, man. I feel like our brains is really like on the same wavelength right now. Cause again, man, you just you throwing the lob coming in like Bron and D Wade right now, man. So, pivoting to the startup, man, and Jimble. Before we get into Jimble and what that is and everything like that, it's crazy, man, because like, on a serious note, one thing I really respect about you is that like when you have an idea, like you execute it and you put it to like whether it's content, whether it's Jimble, whether it's anything, like what I'm saying, doing the G League thing, like when you have something in your brain, it's like you know how to take the steps to put it into place. I feel like there are so many people, and we call our group chat the barbershop, right? How many barbershops do you think there are around the country where people have these amazing ideas? Dang, bro, like what if there was this out there? Dang, we should do this. Everybody has a dope idea, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's so many ideas, but they never come to fruition because not everybody can actually put a plan together and execute it and make it come to life. So for you, like you had this great idea, to build, the next, Airbnb of basketball spaces and things like that. Like, and we're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But for you, talk me through the steps where you had the idea and you actually was like, all right, bet we're actually gonna build on this and make this a reality, as opposed to letting this idea just float in the group chat for however long.
Yeah, yeah, man. I can't even lie to you, bro. Like for one as a guy, like I was just in the right place at the right time. Like I had just gotten waived from Windy City, Chicago Bulls G League. Shout out to Bull. The PJ Dozier, they got traded over. They got traded over for a little minute. So they was like, all right, bro, you gotta get on. So I was back home in Charlotte, and usually I train at my high school, but for the first time, it was like November. Winter sports was in session, so I couldn't work out at Charlotte Christian. So it was the first time I had to actually see what the Charlotte athletic facility scene even looked like. Hitting up Parks and Rec, finding warehouses and stuff. And the process of like engaging with these business owners and seeing how they tried to engage with the community, it felt broken. And I was like, you know what, I need to fix this just for Charlotte. So for that one time in the summer when, we can't find this place or can't engage with this venue, there's a platform for just to make it really easy. So we've grown since then. But to answer your question, bro, I had the vision for it. I couldn't fall asleep the whole night. Like I was just up. And I think one thing that has helped me execute is, for one, being okay with not knowing how to get to that end goal and finding like a real tangible step to get there. So I had no idea what an app looked like. I had no idea what building software looked like. I just Googled it and YouTubed, and I learned about the small steps. So it's like the next step that was tangible is called wireframing. And basically that just means you draw out like every single page of a app. Like this is what that page looks like. Then you click that button. What does that page look like? You just kind of take what's on the phone and put it on paper. So I wireframe the joint. And then I learned about like digital wire, like making that paper like virtual wireframes. And then you can click it and the whole screen changes. So it's like little tangible steps like that. And just constantly like finding that next step. Because a lot of people turn around when they get that hurdle that seems too big. And they're like, oh, dang, I got to climb this wall. And it was a good run. But like keep showing up and you keep learning, like eventually you knock it down. So yeah, but outside of that, man, just being blessed to be in the right place at the right time and provided the resources and combine that with hustle, right? Like faith and works. So that's what I attribute it to.
And you started right there to sort of like dive into Jimble, but like just give us like an overview of like what Jimble is and like really like in your terms. I feel like nobody can really truly explain it as well as like you can explain like what Jimble is and like what the idea going forward is for Jimble.
Yeah, so Jimble is a business management software for personal trainers and fitness or athletic facilities. So whether you're a basketball trainer or you're a basketball trainer that owns their own venue, we make it extremely easy to run your business, manage your finances, manage team members, and we make it even easier for the community to book and pay for the experiences that you provide.
So
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I was about to say that was that. You
Bro
can
had a whole elevator pitch.
tell you practiced that, or you said that a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought that's amazing, man. So obviously, like you said, you want to start it in Charlotte, and you guys got a pretty good team going right now. You guys are just got invited, or I don't know if it's invited, but into the Tech Stars program. Just talk to us about the I guess the excitement, man. 'Cause I feel like as a brother, man, I'm excited for Jimbo, man, and
Big,
what's
man.
to come. You know what I'm saying, and the things that you've been able to do, because one, I've been able to see how you stuck with it over the years and how it's grown over the years. And now you guys are at a point where you guys are ready to launch. You know what I'm saying? So for you, man, what does the next, 5 years look like for Jimbo? If you could say, all right, this is where I want the company to look like in 5 years, and this is what we can expect, from us going forward. We just got the Tech Stars program. We're gonna come out that joint and it's going to the moon. Like, what does that look like for Jimbo?
Yeah, just to use like the hoop analogy, right? To keep it just on brand. Getting accepted in the Techstars, it feels like getting a D1 offer that you want to commit to. I can't lie. So I'm smiling because it brings that same level of like, wow, a program believes in me. They're going to invest in me. They're going to give us the platform and the resources to make it to the league. So the first year and a half, 2 years of our Jimbo startup journey was like high school hoops, right? And now I would say we're in college. So we have everything we need to get to that next level. It's just us. It's on us to put the work in and execute. But yeah, man, Techstars is crazy. It's really all about relationships. So every day we get a chance to, and it's a 3-month program. So we're in like week 7 right now. But every day we get a chance to speak to people who have been there and done that. Like last month, I was chopping it with the founder of GoFundMe on a boat. Like, so what do you think about this? Like, how'd you do that? Like, literally, the dude who made GoFundMe, he just giving free game. Well, it's not free because we had to give up a piece of Jimbo to get in, but yeah, man, just genuine, like, just I'm thankful. Like, that's really it, that someone took a chance on us, and we got that offer, and we're not gonna embarrass them. We're gonna make them glad that they brought us into this cohort for winter 23.
And this is sort of like a broader question, but you started sort of speak on like your journey into the entrepreneurship space. So what do you feel like as an athlete hindered you when you got into the entrepreneurship space, and what as an athlete helped you once you got into the entrepreneurship space?
That's a great question. There's only 24 hours in a day. And this is when I knew it was time to like decide. Right. I forget 2 careers. I had 3 careers: pro hooper, content creator, and startup co-founder, like at once. And I knew it was time to move on from hoops when I was like, if I looked at my 7 days, I'd pick a day to be like, who do I want to be on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, right? So like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, go hard on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Monday and Friday I'm making content, and Thursday is Jimbo or whatever. So I'd say a hindrance was like, there's just not enough hours. If you want to do something dope, like you gotta give it the hours that it deserves to get to that next level. So not enough hours in a day. And then the things that helped, adversity, working as a team, having that North Star, defining success, not comparing yourself. Like, the list can go on, and I'm gonna drop the rest of that list on my Instagram at T Phills. The shame. Yeah, man.
No,
But
but
nah,
like,
my fault, my fault.
go ahead.
Yeah, the last piece on that is like, bro, there's so many parallels, dog. And like, I'm just gonna turn that into content. And there's a million plus people that want to get to the level I was in basketball and business. So if you can package that into like a 60-second or 30-second video, you got yourself something to work with. And that's kind of my whole MO right now. So
I gotta follow up because you sort of started talking about something else I want to ask you about, which is crazy. I don't know. He's doing all the hard work. I'm telling you, Trey's
Oh, he
doing all the
literally
hard
just took
work.
my whole first question about retirement and how you knew to put the ball down. I'm like, damn.
yeah, I'm in the trenches.
Which is it sort of alludes to the same point, but like when you started to sort of stop pursuing basketball, did it become a question of like this is no longer working for me, this is taking too long to get to where I want to get to, or did it become to a point of this thing is no longer serving me? And how did you know the difference between those two?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of realism mixed in that I have. I think I'm very optimistic, but I know how to keep it real and read the room. So like I'm 26. There's people that make it to the league age 27, 28, like 27, 28-year-old rookies, right? Rookies in the NBA. I could have had a great overseas career, but that's when I felt like, okay, do I want a great overseas career? So it's a little bit of realism of like, all right, my window to be a rookie in the NBA might be closing, but I knew that wasn't the end of my pro basketball journey. So I was willing to kind of chase that and explore both worlds. But the thought of going back to a 6, 8 hour time difference and running Jimble, that's when I was like, all right, it is now my opportunity cost when I go over there is crazy, and I can't afford to lose out on time. So yeah, it was a little bit of realism on window, but still just knowing when it's time to move on.
I think that's kind of a perfect way to kind of, I guess, describe it. I think, last week we were talking about this with Meech, just about like, so she's in obviously the medical field, right? And she's out there, y'all Yale's is different because she out here doing cancer research while playing professional
Jesus, bro.
soccer.
Different.
Trying to prepare herself to be a doctor. And we had a conversation just centered around like, all right, like, when is it kind of, I guess, too late to start something, right? Like if you're a professional soccer player, for her, right? She's already knowing in her mind she has 8 years before she can be a doctor. You got 4 years of medical school, 4 years of residency. So it's like in your mind, you're doing a constant math equation, right? You're like, all right, bet. Well, I'm gonna play soccer till I'm 30. Then I got 8 years of medical school. So that means I'm gonna be a doctor when I'm 38. You know what I'm saying? Like, me, for example, being in the media and trying to get into that space fully, you got guys like Tank starting at ESPN at 21. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here, I'm 26. I'm like, damn, if I play 10 years, I'll be 35, 36, trying to get my foot in the door at ESPN or whatever the case may be. He's 15 years in. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the constant thing you have to weigh when it comes to being a professional athlete who has aspirations outside of basketball, right? So for you, was it more so of, did you kind of have to deal with that as well and kind of weigh that as far as, all right, how long, do I want to play basketball and do this Jimbo thing? Was it ever because I feel like, and this is obviously the highest level, but you got LeBron, right? You see LeBron who's playing basketball, he's 38, and he got, Spring Hill, uninterrupted, all this. Obviously, he has billions of dollars and he has a team running these things. But I feel like in my mind, I'm like, I can do everything. I can hoop, I can run this business, I could be a content creator, I could do this podcast, right? Like, for you, how did you kind of weigh all those things? And I guess, like you mentioned, man, time, right? Like, how did you kind of balance time in your mind of, all right, well, am I missing my window? Could I potentially miss out on an opportunity while I'm pursuing this, basketball thing? Or even on the flip side, could I fuck around and mess up an opportunity with the league? I could potentially be in the league, right? You seen last year in the G League, you got all these guys getting these 10-day hardship waivers. You in the league, you in the league. And it's like, damn, did I quit too early to do content creation or Jimbo? And it's like, I know that's a very long kind of monologue, but how did you kind of weigh all those things, man, in your mind from both sides?
Yeah, that's real. So I think there's a point when you realize like Trey Phills can work but so hard and not be able to open a door, but then God will just snap his fingers and now you got that opportunity that you couldn't have even muscled your way into. So I feel like you pair that with like knowing there's momentum and there's windows of opportunity to take advantage of. And it's just one of those things where you got to just trust, like you trust the things that you can control. Like I can't even really, I never really thought like, oh, oh, if I stopped and if I would have kept going, I would have been in the league, or like flip it. If I would have like kept hooping, then Jimbo might be like, things just happened and I just controlled like what I could control. That's kind of a weird way of saying it. But it really just comes back to like just trusting like the opportunity. You could keep hooping for the next 10 years, make a relationship and get you to the same spot that TJ went with his route. Like you might just go on the back route. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've always been like a late bloomer, but I know when it's time to take advantage of moments. And this was just like a decision. It was kind of like, shoot, like God lobbed it up and he was like, now it's time. I thought Jimbo's time was a year earlier, but then I had a whole year to like get more patient and learn about myself. So yeah, man, just trusting the journey and not really tripping over what you think the window is to do the thing you want to do.
That's a gem right there.
Yes.
Yeah, man. We gotta drop some diamonds in the chat. You gotta
Diamonds
have
in the chat. Diamonds in the shop.
really though, y'all be killing me because I'll be thinking it's a bar and I look at Drew, he just like he just soaking it in.
Hey,
So
that's
I
facts.
appreciate it.
I'm like in both spin right now. Let him cook.
Let them cook.
Yeah, drop that meme in there. I appreciate it, man. But no, that's me just, working through it. These are good questions I haven't really said out loud or, we might have put it in the chat, but it's different on the pod.
Sure. Kind of on that same, on that same street, we could say. Man, I feel like just knowing you, you've always been a guy who has had a vision outside of the game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, watching you progress through your career and literally speak it into existence when it comes to the G League and getting to work out with the Hornets and Summer League. You know what I'm saying? You literally like are able to like manifest these things and you literally are probably the gold standard, right? As somebody who's used the game. People always say use the game to let the game use you, right? When you look back on your basketball career, it's crazy to even say look back, you know what I'm saying? Because we were just hooping in the gym, literally COVID summer, getting the ones in, you know what I'm saying? Like when you look back on your basketball career, like how will you sum it up, right? Like, do you feel like you reached your goals? Do you feel like you got to the level that little Trey, when we talk about, little Trey back when you were in Charlotte and looking up to your dad hooping, like, when you look at where you are now and, where you started, how will you reflect on your basketball career and the journey?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I did everything I wanted to do, like at every level. You know, big college game, big overseas game, solid progress. Crazy because I got the sticky note on my bathroom at my mom's crib. And like I'm out the crib for everybody listening to that. I'm out the crib, man. Thank God. But no, it says like successful pro career, like as like a goal. And I was there cleaning something out, and I'm like, dang, like, well, the pro career is over. Like, was it successful or not? Like, and I can't look back and say like there was any failures. There was hurdles, but I would say it's a successful pro career just from like me doing what I wanted to do, and then blazing the opportunity for the people that played after me at my high school and my college. Like, I still get words of encouragement, like, man, y'all boys did it. So that's successful to me. It sounds like.
Yeah. I love how like your definition of success is not like a synopsis of like accomplishments or achievements or any awards or anything. It's just more so a mutual feeling of like I did everything that was like capable in front of me. And like now I can sit back and like be at peace with my decision or be at peace with what I wanted to achieve. And that doesn't have anything to do with like bringing home a trophy, just all has to do with like an intuition, a feeling that you have within yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm really glad you say that because that's a huge piece of it. I sleep great at night because I know I gave every ounce. Like 30 more hours a week in the gym would not have got me any more opportunity. I'll stand on that. Like, the extra 100 shots, I don't think would have opened the doors that I wanted to open. I maxed out my body, my energy, my work. So when it was time to be done, I ain't been in the gym. Like I've been chilling because I gave it everything and I went so hard. So yeah, that's a huge part of why I felt like it was successful because I didn't quit or cheat the grind.
Damn. That's the reason why I know it was successful, because I didn't quit or cheat the grind. That's a gem right there. Now, and I think a lot of people can learn from that as well, man, because I feel like whether it's basketball, whether it's content creation, whether it's entrepreneurship, man, it's like there's so many things that people can accomplish just by staying the course, right? You don't got to be the most talented. You don't got to be the smartest. You don't got to even have the best idea a lot of times. A lot of times you have to withstand the test of time and continue to put that work in and be consistent. And that'll get you farther than, working hard or whatever the case may be. Sometimes, obviously, you got to put the work in 100%. But I guess last thing I'll ask you on retirement before we get into, a little bit of barbershop talk is this next phase. And I know you got your Instagram series that you're rolling out, so I ain't gonna steal your thunder, man. But I feel like as an athlete, right, we're always competing. There's always I want to be the best athlete. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna punch the clock and I'm gonna get these 200 shots in, and I want to make 75% of the jump shots that I shoot when I'm working out or whatever. How will you try and keep that competitive edge in this next phase of life beyond sports? Because I feel like a lot of times athletes, talking about Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, he always used to say, like, I don't even want to be known for basketball. Like, I want to be known for what I'm going to do next. You know what I'm saying? And, he will always say, like, when he won that Academy Award for his short story, it's like, yo, like, this is one of my greatest achievements. People are like, what? Like, you a 5-time NBA champ. Like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? So for you, right, like, how will Trey, the entrepreneur, Trey, the content creator, keep that competitive edge and, look to, I guess, grow this next story of your life, outside of the game of basketball?
Yeah, that's really good. I think it goes back to the whole impact thing, right? Like short form content on TikTok and IG Reels just happens to be the vehicle, right? Like I might bust out a documentary and be at Sundance Film Festival, right? Like I have like a story to tell. I have something to say. And this is just how I'm currently saying it. And then on the entrepreneur side is like, if I can, something that started in my head and to the paper in the bedroom, if that joint is at Hornets Arena, right, the Jimbo logo is going to be on the Hornets Arena one day. And I think that's going to be dope too. Is like just seeing it come into fruition. That's enough for me. That's what I'm motivated by. It's not really the bread, but it's just like creating something and having some staying power with what you did. So, and then you tie it together and tell your story, and then somebody learns from it. And that's what life is, right? It's crazy.
Damn.
You see, this why he be doing numbers on the socials, bro. Because everything he talk about is his real life, bro. It's authentic, bro. There's no cap in his rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see now the Jimbo Center or Jimbo Arena.
Hard. Yeah, that's it right there.
Facts. Nah, man. But like I said, man, I think that this has been great. On the whole, just kind of bringing it full circle. You know what I'm saying? And I think that obviously I'm super excited to see where you go next in your journey, man. Like I said, man, we can't get about here without having some barbershop talk. You know what I'm saying? Some good chit chat, man. So I want to ask you, man. Number one, a lot of times, we go back and forth all the time about music, clothes, and stuff like that, man. Fashion. Who would you say is the drippiest in the barbershop? You know what I'm saying? Who got the most swag? You know what I'm saying?
You want me to start with who is not?
Yeah, let's start with that.
No.
Let's start with that. Let's start with that.
That's gonna be hot, yo.
Who about?
All right. I'm gonna give a top three, and then I'm gonna give. Well, I'm gonna say in no order. I'm gonna say in no order, man. Say no order. Myself, of course. I'm up there. But
wait, hold on. Are we going best or worst?
This is best. No
I
order.
hope it's best.
This is best.
Put itself in there.
This is best no order. I'm gonna put myself in the mix. Like I really be chilling. This is what I be in. But when it's time to step, is a difference. Then I feel like my peak is the highest in the chat.
What is Jordan versus LeBron? Overall body of work. It feels like a Jordan versus LeBron debate.
We going peak. So look, if no one else in the chat was at New York Fashion Week, look, people was, what you got on? What you got on? So I would put my peak up here. But look, I don't be there every day. So like, I don't know. Okay. Then we're gonna go with most consistent stepper. That's an important award. I'm gonna give it to Drew. I can't lie. Drew he be getting them
Okay.
off. He be getting them off. sleeper stepper. It's between Dalen and TJ. It's between Dalen.
Wow.
Yeah. See, Dalen
Wow.
really, but Darius gonna be mad. He gonna be on my head for this, but
Hey, if you peep me and Dalo, and me and Dalo don't even be posting like flicks or anything like that, so that's a crazy. Hey, Derek do be having pieces though. Jared just dressed like he most deaf. Like he just be putting pieces on together, but he be having the pieces.
Facts. All right, so I like that. I like that. I like that. I'm glad I'm in the top three. You know, no, you know what I'm saying? No shame there. Gotta give a shout out to, like I said, we mentioned Derek a couple of times, man. Favorite, no matter of fact, I'm gonna ask Tank and I'm gonna ask Trey. Give me a top three favorite Scotty Four Seasons tracks. And if y'all know Scotty Four Seasons, man, make sure we gonna give my boy a plug, man. Go stream his music. The hottest artist out of Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? Over the baby, over all the, you know what I'm saying? Top three favorite Scotty Four Seasons songs, man.
Out of Carolina for real. That's what they saying.
Straight up.
I'm gonna pull up my liked song.
Yeah, I'm about to say, let me hit it. Scotty, I'll probably say Seasons Change. I like when Scotty getting like the smooth bag, like when he be talking, Scotty getting a little bag and it's like Don Tolliver or something like. Hey, that bad be going. Hey, the Seasons Change, John. That's just my junk. The update, I like with him and Nate. I like when Nate is his producer. Nate, they got good chemistry. I like when they made songs together. And Blame Game, like Blame Game, he was in like a little Brent Fires bag. So you feel me? I think Scotty probably like a little toxic, but when he be toxic, Scotty, it's top two. It's top two.
I'm gonna go with he got a track called Scotty Season 2. That's probably my favorite. Leave Me Alone Freestyle is my favorite music video. Yeah, that visual was
That video is hard.
that video was really crazy.
The hottest in the trap for the birds from the streets to the curbs. If you ain't on that new Scotty, then you bogus. And I ain't got no beef, I be living in a peace. You try to take a feast from a dog, he gon' eat.
And then I'm gonna go with it's between I'm gonna have to go with it's between Losing My Faith and So Long for Now. But that song has just like, I don't know, he in
that zone on them Johns, yo.
Okay. I'm gonna go with those. But that visual though, that visual on Leave Me Alone, I need you to like throw that up here just for like a couple of seconds. You know, it's crazy.
Say less. For me, my top three, man, 5 Rings, the joint he out right now, Celebrate, and Bestie in the Benz, man. I like the crank, you know what I'm saying? I like the line, how you crying the Honda with your bestie in the Benz? That's real life, man. It must be slimy out the streets. How you gonna do that to your bestie, man? You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Nah, for real.
you should like go stream my boy Scotty, man. You know what I'm saying? He really one of them ones, man. Most slept on, man. But he up and coming though. Y'all gonna know about him soon, man. Last question for the barbershop jazz, man. You know what I'm saying? Who got the most rays in the chat, man? Most rays. I think we know who the answer is, but we just gotta get it out there. You know what I'm saying? So the folks know.
Oh boy, oh brother. Oh brother. Oh man. Who got the most or who tries the most? It's a difference. Are you a volume shooter?
T Fields definitely got the most reels in the chat though.
Nah, man.
T Fields got like the Hey Arnold reels. Like he ain't even gonna say much. He just chilling. Like he's just chilling, bro.
The unspoken
hey, bro,
reels.
we was at Derek's house. Bro did a magic trick, had the whole room captivated, bro. T Fields got the riz, yo.
Nah, man. I'm a go. It's probably volume shooters. No. I ain't even gonna say no names. Nah, bro. I'll plead the fifth on this one. I'll plead the fifth.
We know who it is. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I the one looking guilty in the camera might have something to say about it, though, but you know, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Daylo. Yeah, Daylo.
That's crazy.
Wow. Nah, man. This has been fun, man. And I think, you know, one thing I can say about the barbershop, man, everybody's really, you know, doing their thing, man. You know what I'm saying? From My guy Ace out with the Clippers. Tank, the youngest ESPN employee ever. My guy Trey, we've talked about what he's been doing with Jimbo and content creation. Derek running it up, with the music. My guy Dallo, doing his thing, man. Stepping, obviously, doing his thing, man. My guy DQ, doing his thing, living his best life, man. I think it's been a pleasure, man, to see what everybody's been able to do, in their own lane and in their own space, man. And I think, just putting the bow on the pod, man. I think, like I said, knowing you for as long as I've known you, man, I really want to just give you your flowers, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because, you're somebody who, number one, has inspired me a lot, from just the basketball journey, man, and everything outside of basketball as well, man. The way you attack entrepreneurship, man, the way you have just a grasp on life as a whole, man. You're somebody who a lot of people can learn from. And I'm not surprised at all, to see, where you're at now as far as how many kids and teenagers and men you inspire every day through social media and through your videos. I get to see you on a day-to-day basis, man. And just want to let you know, man, I'm super proud of everything you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's crazy because I know that this is just the beginning of where you're going, man. And definitely was a pleasure, man. I can't believe it took us this long to get you on, man. But I know this is the first conversation we've had on the podcast. Won't be the last, but I think it's perfect timing. You know what I'm saying? Just because of everything you've got going on. And like I said, man, I definitely want to be able to give you your flowers, man, while you're right here and let you know, man, you're doing great things. Super proud of you as a brother, man. Can't wait to get home, see you guys, man. Like I said, man, see my Dukes as well, man. I'm tired I missed her when she came to Japan, but, we'll have to get that done soon, man. But like I said, man, keep doing your thing. It's been an honor to chop it up with you, on what's in your bag, man. I can't wait to see what's next in this next journey of your career.
No, I definitely second that. Like, and I've told like Trey and Scotty that before. Like, coming up, like you're just trying to like find what your identity is. Like in a world where it's so many places to choose from, but it feels like nobody's like living from a place of like transparency. Just growing up somebody like who like struggle like self-esteem, like insecure, like just being able to watch Trey, just being able to watch Scotty, like those were two guys who were never afraid to be themselves and like just sort of walk into like who they were and like take that into every room, man. So like I can't even imagine like the inspiration you had on everybody else, but like you were speaking early on impact, but you definitely had an impact on me. So I just appreciate, and you like the world's busiest man for real, and you took the time to get on the pod, so we appreciate you for real.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, man. I'm excited for the next time we hop on the pod and just see from when the chat started to this to the next time, like consistency is gonna get us there for sure. So I appreciate that for real.
No doubt, man. Alrighty, folks. Like I said, make sure y'all follow my guy on Instagram at T Phills, TikTok at T Phills. Make sure y'all check out his retirement series. It's going viral, millions of views, literally, on those platforms, man. Make sure y'all go check that out. I'm sure you'll learn something. Make sure y'all follow Jimbo. What's the plug for Jimbo on social media? Is it at Jimbo US? Jimbo.us? All right, Jimbo.
Jimbo.us or Jimbo app on social media. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Tap in, man. Make sure y'all follow my guy because he's doing a bunch of great things, man. This is a wrap, folks. This has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online. Make sure you guys are giving us a 5-star rating. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating. It goes a long way. This is going to be Pull Up Tay on the outro, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, changed relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now